Hey friends, Ash here. Hope that you're doing well. One of the most hyped, most talked about fragrance clones of last year was this one right here, Liquid Brun. This is of course by French Avenue, also known as Fragrance World. But we're not talking about that fragrance today. We're talking about a new one. This one right here, Coco Morado, which comes in a very familiar packaging. I should pick that up, I'm gonna trip over it. And this one has been getting some play. Yeah, as of right now, if you go to fragrancebuy.ca, this is right on the front of their webpage, along with Tom Ford's Costa Azura. So, yeah, because Tom Ford Costa Azura and French Avenue Coco Morado have a lot in common. Like, for example, the first word in their name starts with the C and has 5 letters. See, it's right there, I'm not making it up, there it is. Do you see it? Do you see? Look, right here, do you see that? So yeah, it's been getting talked about. I had to pick it up, about 44 bucks. That's the price as of this video. And that's at Fragrance Buy, so it's gonna fluctuate depending on conversion rate, and also just sometimes cologne fragrances get cheaper as time goes on. But as of right this second, that's what it is. So as I said, Liquid Brun, hype monster, and this is in the same family, the same line of fragrances. So the question is this the second coming of this? I really want to throw that bottle again. I'm having intrusive thoughts. It's like, just smack it off the table, just do it. So we're gonna go ahead and break this one down. I'll let you guys know what it smells similar to, if it smells nice, if it's worth the price, just the whole rundown, and I'll have it linked in the description below in case you want to check it out. As always, let's go ahead and kick things off by scoping out that presentation a little bit closer. Here we have the front of the box. You have the name of the fragrance, name of the house, French Avenue Coco Morado. You have like a little purplish stick-on crystal right there on the front. It says French Avenue up on top of the box. On the back, you have your ingredient information, size and concentration, 100 ml eau de parfum. On the bottom, you have your barcode. And one thing to know about these boxes, it's not really a big deal, but I do need to point it out. They open up from here out. So you don't open it this way, you don't lift it, you don't pull on this part right here. You just open it like that. You see, like this. And then the bottle sits down inside here, a little velvety feeling foam cutout, and you have the name of the fragrance and house on the inside as well. The only reason I bring that up is because this part here is a little heavy, so it's kind of weighted toward this side where the gold is there, and it's glued on. So if you give this a nice big tug, you might just yank the whole thing off the box. I wouldn't know. I have not done that before. And then on the spine here, the heavier part that's glued on, you have the note breakdown and the name of the fragrance once again, just in case you forgot. It's like, what was the name of this one? I don't, it's all, I don't, oh, that's right. And this one has a fairly in-depth note breakdown. Let's run through it really quickly. Top notes, cinnamon, saffron, cardamom, ginger, nutmeg, pink pepper. Mid notes, dates, oud, incense, myrrh, and davana. Base notes, vanilla, tonka bean, benzoin, labdanum, leather, patchouli, mate. Yeah, this is the polar opposite of those 3 note breakdowns. They're giving you everything you could want to know. Let's take a look at the bottle. So this is done in that Liquid Brun Azure Oud style, only this one with a nice purple coat of paint. And actually that's what Morado in Coco Morado means, purple. So it's purple cocoa. You have a little purple faux crystal right there on the front, kind of like on the front of the box as well. You have French Avenue on the back of the bottle, and you have another little crystal on top of the cap. And the cap does click into place. All right, I think it's time to give it a few sprays. Here we go. Atomizer works all right, has a nice wide distribution. Nice. All right. Let's start talking Coco Morado. How does it smell? What is it similar to? Well, I guess first let's really quickly talk about these, just very quickly. So this is Liquid Brun, and that is Azure Oud. Liquid Brun is the most popular one in this trio by far, and that is a clone of Parfums de Marly ALTHAIR. And I would say, by and large, that's the best alternative to ALTHAIR right now. So if you wanted to scoop one up, this is the most popular. This is the one that more people are going to know about. Really, really well done, excellent stuff. Azure Oud is completely different, and it's a clone of a completely different fragrance house. It's not a Parfums de Marly at all. Azure Oud, this one is a clone of a Maison Crivelli fragrance called Oud Maracuja, which is quite pricey. $340 is the retail price, and that's for a 50 ml size bottle. And it's extremely well done. It does a great job at capturing how that fragrance comes across. This one here, the new one, Coco Morado, is another Maison Crivelli clone. This one is a clone of Oud Cadenza. So Oud Maracuja, Oud Cadenza. Yeah. Which now the colors make sense. Oud Maracuja comes in a blue bottle. This one is blue. ALTHAIR comes in a kind of burnt orange bottle, kind of similar to this. And then Oud Cadenza comes in a purple bottle. So there we go. It does beg the question though, is this fragrance line going to be like alternating between Parfums de Marly and Maison Crivelli? At this point, do they just say, this one is kind of a one-off and now it's full on Maison Crivelli, because there's also one called Oud Stallion, which comes in a green bottle? Or is it a line that just kind of does whatever they want, and it's just kind of a coincidence that two of the three are Maison Crivelli? Ultimately, I guess that's not important right now, and we'll figure that out as time goes. Now to this one and how it smells itself. Well, as you can see with the note breakdown, lots of spices in there, especially off the top. Again, cardamom, cinnamon, saffron, ginger, nutmeg, pink pepper, basically just a spice overload. And when you first spray this one on your skin, it's actually got a little bit of a green aspect to it. A touch bitter, also like bitter green aromatics, but then also these zingy, warm spices with a good dose of sweetness as well that kind of help balance that out. So it's gonna be one of those deals where as soon as you spray it on, if you go in for a whiff, it does have a little bit of that like, ooh, it's a little punchy. And it can be a little bit off-putting when you first spray the fragrance on, a little bit much when you first smell it, but it dissipates pretty quickly, that aspect. It's not like it lingers forever and you're just like, okay guys, give it 45 minutes, it'll be good. It's not like that at all. Just a minute or two, really, and then that bitter aspect fades away. At that point, you have a very appealing sweetness that's quite deep as well. It's very rich and bold. So after that initial part of the opening, as it heads through the rest of the open into the mid, you have a nice dose of that myrrh that comes through. It is a bit sugary as well. And if you look at Fragrantica and some other websites, they have additional notes. So they have, for example, caramel and sugar, and you do kind of get that coming through. One of the best parts of this fragrance is as you head through the mid, the dates come out. And it's like this fruity, but still sugary sweetness with just a little hint of tang. And when you pick it up, it smells lights out. I think that part of the fragrance is just absolutely bang on. Really, really well done. And that's a note that people generally love. It smells a little bit exotic, you know, something like in the one Luminous Night. It smells a little different, but then kind of familiar, and it becomes just addictive. It really does as you head through the mid. You just want to keep smelling it. Obviously, oud is a note in the fragrance, and the fragrance that it is a clone of is called Oud Cadenza. So you may be thinking, oh, this is gonna be really strong, potential barnyard type of scent, off-putting, funky, weird, dark, hard to wear, all the different things that sometimes people will peg an oud fragrance as being, but it's not. No, it's not. If you're not familiar with Maison Crivelli, I should say, it's a little bit similar in some ways to how some Montal oud fragrances are put across. Now, when I say that, I do need to clarify, because some Montal fragrances are scratchy. The way the oud comes across. It's just grating, can be overwhelming, off-putting, headache-inducing. But over the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, Montal has put out more oud fragrances that maybe have oud in the name, but actually lean more toward like a wearable, sweet side. And the way the oud comes across in here, to me, kind of ticks that same box that some of those Montals do. So it's more like through the mid, the oud is this lightly smoked, you know, lightly incensed woodiness, not overly dark, very wearable, approachable, and really just kind of lays a base for these spices and bits of sweetness to kind of jump off of. Again, in a way that has like an airiness to it, an airy quality to it through the opening and mid, while still having nice density. Now, as you hit the dry down here, you get leather that comes out. That's gonna be one of the more prominent things that you pick up in the dry down. And you have a mix of a bunch of different, again, sweet notes tonka, vanilla, benzoin, labdanum as well, like this lineup of just sweet notes. Like you've got them all lined up there and it's like, okay, which do you pick? And you say, I'll take them all, thanks. That's basically what's going on here. There's a faint waft of earthiness way in the background as it dries down, but it's really more so just a supporting note, just a bit of nuance that you pick up, you know, something that makes it a little more interesting, helps meld together with those sweet notes and keeps it from being just overloaded. You know, it keeps it from being like bubblegummy or syrupy or anything like that. And it does have a nice, I don't know if I would call it darker aspect as it dries down. But it's kind of like that, where that sugar sweetness starts to seed and give way to more of like an ambery black vanilla sort of dry down, but with a nice semi-smoked leather on top. In terms of performance, really, really solid. Stuff lasts for a long time, projects really well, smells way higher quality than you would expect for a $44, $45 fragrance, which puts it in line with these two, because these are really, I would say, two of the most generally well-received fragrances from French Avenue, and this kind of continues on that trend. And I would say to my own personal taste that I like this one more than Azure Oud, but overall Liquid Brun probably still is going to be the one that I like the most of the three. That being said, this has more going on than Liquid Brun, but that's also because it's the type of fragrance, right? Because at that point you're saying Oud Cadenza, ALTHAIR, really, and Oud Cadenza just has a little more going on as far as changes from the opening to the mid to the dry down. Coco Morado is addictive. This is the type of fragrance you just want to spray on over and over and over again, but then you really shouldn't because it's kind of strong and you can start choking yourself out. But especially the opening through the mid, really fantastic. In the air, as you're moving around, you catch whiffs, and that's what makes you want to just keep going back for more. Obviously, fall, wintertime fragrance, like today, absolutely way too cold outside, but this is smelling amazing. I did go to IHOP wearing this, so it's yeah, perfect fragrance for IHOP. And I brought up the price before about Oud Maracuja, $340 for a 50 ml size bottle. Same deal with this one. Oud Cadenza, $340 for a 50 ml size bottle. This one, $44 for a 100 ml. The one thing I guess that could hold this back a little bit in comparison to Liquid Brun is just the fragrance that it's similar to is not as well known, because ALTHAIR from Parfums de Marly, pretty well known, right? Parfums de Marly, one of the biggest niche houses out there. And it's not that Oud Cadenza is unknown or anything, it's just ALTHAIR is pretty popular. And so you may not get as many people giving this one a shot. And this one does that whole walking the line thing, trying to give you something niche, something a little bit different, but still being pretty easy to wear. Not trying to rock the boat in a crazy, crazy way, but still trying to be a little different. So there we go, Coco Morado from French Avenue. Again, about $44 from Fragrance Buy. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me here today. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.